This week on Take It Outside.
At the time, I had no bills. I was single. I was like in that phase of life where you're just like, yeah, I can go buy a gun if I want to.
Maybe two.
Yeah. I land and I get a phone call from Thomas Rhett.
You get a lot of random phone calls.
I know, man. I don't know. Somebody been giving my phone number, posting on Snapchat or something. I was working part-time over at Lucky Brand at Opry Mills. I was in there one day.
Lucky the store?
Yeah.
Another retail guy. We have a retail background too. His lasted about an hour and a half. This podcast was brought to you by Outsider. Check us out at www.outsider.com. Outsider is an outdoor lifestyle brand owned and operated by me, retired Navy SEAL Sam Mackey, and my dear friend and former NFL quarterback Jay Cutler. At Outsider, we encourage everyone to get outside and enjoy all that life has to offer. Head over to outsider.com to check out our unique patent-pending drinkware. Outsider's drinkware can be customized with your personal or business logo. Go to outsider.com, upload your logo, and we will send you visual proofs and great wholesale pricing. And don't forget, get outside and enjoy all that life has to offer. Welcome back to Take It Outside, the podcast where we talk all things outdoors and just getting outside in general where life happens. I'm your host, Sam Mackey, and as always, I have my co-host, Smoking Jay Cutler.
A lot of energy there.
Yeah, I'm faking it. It's Monday. Our next guest is a rising star and one hell of a songwriter. He's written hits for Jason Aldean, including Trouble with a Heartache and a bunch more that you probably have on repeat. He's making big waves of his own right now. His debut song, Friends Like That, is currently #1 on your country music radio. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome John Morgan.
Yeah, thank you, man. That was great.
Absolutely, appreciate it. I was going around nicknames. I'm like, Johnny Mo or Smoking Johnny Mo. I was just going to make something up, but I didn't want to piss anybody off. So.
It takes a lot to piss me off, man.
Right on, brother. Well, I appreciate you coming on.
Yeah, thanks for having me. This is cool.
Absolutely. And congratulations on your #1 song.
Thank you, man. It's been a couple of days just trying to soak it in. It's obviously my first time, so I don't know how you're supposed to act or what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to be sending people gifts or whatever, but
No.
it's pretty cool, man. We've been grinding for, I've been grinding for a long time at music and before I moved to Nashville, but even just since I've been here, 6 years or whatever, it's been a grind. Me and my guys have really been hitting it on the road, so it's cool to see it pay off a little bit,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Where were you when you found out that it went #1?
I think we were out in we were in Oregon playing a show a couple nights ago, and we were in the middle of our set, and I didn't know anything had been planned, but I'm like talking to the crowd, like doing our normal bit, and all of a sudden somebody taps me on the shoulder, and the station there had like got me a cake and stuff, so it was cool. They like made it a moment and told the crowd that, because I think it was just like maybe an hour before we started playing is when it actually got printed as #1. So it was cool, man. It was a great night. I got to spend it in Oregon with some fans out there, and I don't know, it was fun. Good time.
That's awesome, man. Were you emotional? You seem like a real emotional guy.
Probably more inwardly. Yeah, I was just, like I said, proud of the work we've been putting in, man. It's just like, I don't think a lot of people know the back end of it, and the grind that it takes to even just break even, on the road sometimes. So, yeah, man, it was cool. I was definitely proud of us, in the moment.
Do you think a lot of people have the potential to, get to where you're at and or, the #1 song potential, but the grind and just the stress of not making it and making ends meet wears on them and they break down before they get there?
For sure, man. I mean, yeah, it's a mental thing too, because, I don't know. I mean, you guys know it's with anything else, really. It's if you have, a certain presence that you're supposed to have, like social media or whatever, right? Like, you always got to be on, and I think that's I think that was the biggest adjustment to me, because I like to shut off and go out in the middle of nowhere by myself a lot, you know, or used to. And, you know,
It's hard to do when you're trying to sell songs and records.
It is, man. Yeah, but you know, I love it. I love music, you know, more than anything. That was just it's always been my thing, and thankfully now I get to, you know, call it my livelihood and make a few dollars. So
did you grow up around music?
Yeah, I actually grew up playing bluegrass music.
Okay.
Did that for almost 10 years, man. I was on the road, and
were your parents musically inclined, or?
Yeah, my mom's very much so.
Where'd you grow up?
North Carolina.
Okay.
Yeah, up in the Smokies. Yeah, my mom was a singer, so she's kind of the one that taught me how to hear notes and stuff. And then my dad was just like, he was just like a really good storyteller, but also like he knew like all the facts about all these old bands in the 70s, you know? So he was just like, some of them would come on the radio and he was like, oh yeah, they cut this in such and such studio. And I'm like, all right, cool. Now I wish I would have been listening because it's kind of cool. But yeah, man.
There was less music then though, too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like in the 60s, 70s, like there was just less music.
It's good music though.
It was great music. It's still great music.
Yeah.
But like there just wasn't, like right now I think we're in a place in the world where there's just so much.
Yeah.
Of everything. Yeah.
Yeah, it's anarchy, man.
Yeah.
Anybody can be an artist. Seriously.
I know. Just throw it out there on
Just
YouTube
post
and see
it.
what happens.
Yeah. It's wild. It's kind of cool because it's like kind of levels the playing field out too in a good way, but it's also like, man, like,
a lot of competition.
Yeah, it's tough.
Some of it's shit, but
yeah, definitely. You know, cream rises to the top, but
yeah,
I don't know, man. It's pretty wild. It's a wild game to try to figure out your brand, right? It's like, how do I do this and promote my music without doing something that somebody's already doing? You know, that's the hard part, but you guys know. It's the same with everything else.
Oh, exactly. Man. Did you have brothers and sisters?
Yeah, I have a older sister and a younger brother.
Okay. So you're in the middle.
I'm a middle kid, yeah.
That middle child.
Yeah.
A little wild.
A little wild.
You got kids?
Yeah, dude, I got 3 now.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah, it's
how old?
3, almost 2, and then 5.
Oh gosh,
5 weeks.
You're
6
in
weeks.
it.
Oh yeah, I'm in the trenches, man. It's
it gets easier.
Yeah, it does.
Does it?
Oh yeah.
Good.
My youngest just turned 5, and my middle daughter is 7. My oldest one's about to be 9. Once you get out of diapers and they can start like making their own snacks, and, you know, and the older one looking out for them, life just gets a hell of a lot easier around the house for sure.
Yeah.
I'm 6th grade, 5th grade, 3rd grade.
Okay. So I'm trying to remember what 6th grade is.
9, 10,
Okay.
11, 12. Yeah.
It's been a minute.
Yeah. But they get to a point. I mean, they grow up so fast now too, with phones and internet and everything. Like, I feel like, because I'm boy, girl, I feel like my 2 older boys, like they know more about the world than I knew whenever I was damn near 18.
Oh yeah.
It's scary.
It's a different world, man. I don't know how I feel about it. I in some ways feel bad for kids now that it's like they almost feel pressure to have to do something like that and like have a platform regardless of what they're doing. It's like, man, just be a kid, you know? Like I don't know. It's an interesting topic, but I guarantee you that you know, it's got to have some effect to them, you know, in a different way than I had growing up.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Do you think it'll even out by the time, you know, it's next 10 years or so, and people will start to realize, hey, shit on social media is fake? Like, you know, like that's not how you have to be or have to act for kids? Or do you think they're going to realize that?
I mean, some will, some won't, obviously. I think AI is kind of putting its best foot forward right now. It's in the music. It's in every industry at this point.
Just about to ask,
I mean,
how you guys are using it in music.
Well, I try. I don't know, man. I don't know how to feel about it. It's one of those things where I'm like, I think it's really cool, and it's insane how like fast it is. Like, but it's also kind of scary where you're like, dude, I mean, this little thing could steal my job in a heartbeat one day. You know, it's like,
well, it's gonna steal teachers' jobs. Like the kids, like this whatever it is, like they can just ask it a question, they get it immediately.
Yeah.
Immediately.
That's wild, man.
And then Lozon this past weekend, we were target hunting. He's sending text messages out just writing down notes, and then AI puts it in like these 2 paragraphs, and he sends it.
Really?
Oh yeah.
I use it for business plans, and it saved me a lot on attorney fees.
Yeah.
Just with your standard, like don't sue me paperwork,
Right.
So I use it all the time.
You get sued a lot?
Sorry?
You get sued a lot?
Nope. Thanks to AI.
Not anymore.
Not in a while.
Oh god, we get off on a tangent.
Sorry.
All right. So,
Growing up
No,
playing.
dude.
so your mom got you into music, reading notes. When did you start playing? When did you start writing?
I was
Or
probably
both?
I was a little older. I was like 17 or 18 when I started writing songs. I messed around with it earlier on, but I didn't get it. You know what I mean? It was just like, I think the first time I ever wrote was about a cowboy. It was like an outlaw, John Wesley Hardin. I wrote it was the worst song you ever heard in your life, but I thought it was cool, and that's when I kind of caught the bug for it. At least I was just like, oh, this is, I thought it was great. I was like, but
Were you playing guitar and singing and doing covers at that point? Did you have a band?
yeah, I was doing, so I toured the bluegrass circuit from when I was like, I think it was 10 or 11 when we started traveling.
You were 10 years old?
Yeah. And then I didn't get out of that band until I was,
What's the bluegrass circuit?
it's just it's like its own genre,
Okay,
it's like
sure.
it has its own festivals and
Okay,
different
gotcha.
award shows and stuff. It's like,
So at 10, you were traveling around. Were you playing by yourself, or did you have?
oh man, it was me and my 2 cousins and my uncle. So it was a family band.
No shit.
And we played everywhere, anywhere.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
birthday parties, church. It didn't matter. We
Yeah.
played everywhere, man. But yeah, it was a lot of fun because
Were you singing at 10?
Yeah, I sang a lot of like background stuff
Mm-hmm.
back then. I just like playing guitar, man. I was just want to rip, but
So when did you start to learn how to play guitar?
I was about 8 when I started taking guitar lessons. I started on piano and hated it, and then switched to fiddle, and that was even worse. And then finally found guitar, and I was like, oh, I like this.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, I was a player first, and then just started, doing all that, being on the road, and then I really fell in love with songwriting when I was like probably 18 or 19.
Okay.
And I like understood, like I did some deep dive, and I was like, I didn't even know writers were a thing.
Yeah.
I thought like most people probably do, like every artist writes their own stuff. And I started looking into it and researching, and
They don't.
yeah.
Very few
Come
do.
to find out. No, it was cool though, because you start seeing like, oh, I know that name. Like I've seen him on another song I like, and then
Sure.
you become a fan of the writer, and
Yep.
like you're like, oh, if this guy's on it, But yeah, I didn't really know a lot about the industry until I moved here, and so I've it's probably like anything else. You got to be right in the middle of it to really get it, but.
So you're 17, 18, you're starting to write. What happens? Did you move to Nashville then, or you just started another band?
Kinda. So around that time, I had I was working for my dad. My dad had a property management business, and
Okay.
so I was like, I'm just gonna take this over. I was making great money, and we had some really good clients that were very consistent. It was a solid job opportunity, and I at the time I had no bills. I was single. I was like in that phase of life where you're just like, yeah, I can go buy a gun if I want to.
Maybe 2.
Yeah. So it was fun, but yeah,
Stars today.
yeah. I was like, I bought this little piece of property, and was just like, I love North Carolina, so I was like, dude, I'm cool with chilling here, and I'll be here for as long as I want to be. And I wanted to raise Black Angus and like do the whole thing. There's an old house there I was wanting to remodel, and I was actually sitting out there working on it one day, and I hadn't touched a guitar in probably a year at this point. And I just remember like out of nowhere, I was
Were
just
you
like,
still writing at all?
not really, man.
I just took a break.
Yeah, I had some things kind of fall through that I thought were gonna do something, and I was just like, you know what, screw this.
Yeah.
It's like, it's, I don't know. I had a bad taste in my mouth, and I just remember sitting there like working on this house, and it just out of nowhere hit me. I was just, dude, I'm not happy. You know,
Yeah.
why am I not happy? Like, and I don't know. I had to, think about some things and just realize that music was it for me. You know, it was like, if I'm not doing that, that's always been my dream, right?
Mm-hmm.
If I'm not what excuse do I have right now? I don't want to move. I'm comfortable, and so I had to get over that hump and just be like, if I'm gonna do it, I got to go now.
Sure.
And so that's kind of when I decided to
How old
move.
were you?
I was a little bit older. I think it was 23 or 24. When
How old are you now?
29. I'll be 30 this year.
Oh, it wasn't long ago.
Feels like it. It does feel like it, but yeah, no, it really wasn't. In the grand scheme of things, I've been super fortunate to get in rooms I've gotten in early on, and I've just always been of that mentality of like, I'm not the most talented guy in the room, but I'm gonna outwork your ass. You know, like I will write a hit song.
Yeah.
And being in the room with some of the old heads that I got to be in with early that have written multiple hits, it's like you sit there and watch them do their thing, and you're like, it's mind blowing, dude, how they can start with a hook and write all this different crap and somehow get back to the hook, and it's got the double meaning or whatever. I was always a sucker for that,
It's fun to see.
So it was really cool for me to spend, my first 3 or 4 years in town and being signed. I was just a writer basically. I did some road stuff, and
So you said so you were at your farm. You said, "Hell with Black Angus.
Yeah.
I'm back in music." So then, what'd you do?
well, I sold all that, man. I was just like, I knew
Sold the farm.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I was
Burning the ships.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Well, it was hard, man, because it was like a dream spot for me,
Yeah.
especially at that age,
Sure.
know. And so I was just trying to work it off, and part of my thing was just maintaining it, mowing it, and keeping it up, and so I don't know. It was hard to do, but obviously, grand scheme of things, I'm glad I made the move. And
So how'd you get to Nashville? You just packed your shit up and came here?
pretty much, man. I had 3 friends that I was close with down here.
Okay.
And so
Writers?
I was like, no, one of them's he's actually Post Malone's guitar player now.
Okay. It's good guy to
and
know.
Yeah, he's been doing well.
Does okay.
Yeah. And then one of them was my drummer. And then I had my roommate when I moved down here. His name's Jeb Gibson. He writes over at Relative, Hardy's new publishing company. And so anyway, I knew like 3 guys, so I moved down here, and I was like,
That's enough to move.
yeah,
Yeah.
right.
We
And
can figure that out.
yeah. So I felt good about that. I'd never lived in the city, man. I was just like, I was nervous about that. And
Well, this is like 5 years ago.
yeah.
Yeah.
And it was right in the middle of COVID too.
Yeah.
It was like,
Oh, shit.
I officially moved here in like 2020. So
The music industry changed about then too here. I mean, the last 10 years it's changed, but
Yeah.
it's different ball game now.
it is, man. Because a lot of the stuff that we're talking about and streaming,
Yeah,
streaming's just
streaming like used to be all radio. Now it's radio. I mean, radio is still important, but it's not the end all as it was,
Yeah.
10, 15 years ago.
for sure, man. It's yeah. I think the control has kind of, I don't know. It's both sides are very important. You
Yeah.
know, it's like there's still, especially in country, like radio is extremely important in our genre, but I don't know, man. There's a lot. I think social media, like we were talking about, had a big impact on that.
Absolutely.
When everybody had all this downtime and people started, I'm going to learn how to play guitar, and then next thing you know, they're on tour.
Yeah.
It's just like, but yeah, I love Nashville, man. It's been really good to me, and
So you moved to town. Where'd you live first?
my first spot was over by
Hold on. So you sold the farm. You just pack up your car and like I'm going.
I had what did I have? I had a Jeep Cherokee, I think, 98, and
What'd your parents say?
man, it was. My mom was obviously not happy.
Oh, really?
Well, it's like, so I grew up in the same house that my mom grew up in.
Okay.
Right, like very, very rooted up in the mountains. So there's like all of my family on my mom's side live there, still do, a lot of them. And so it was just, I don't know, it was one of those things where you're just comfortable, right? It's just like, I feel at home here. And that's great. And I love that time of my life and miss it sometimes, you know, but at some point you got to make a decision, you know. It's like you can't get stuck and make excuses for not doing something that like aren't justifiable, you know. It's like, so I don't know. So I moved in 2020, and then my drummer had already moved down here about a year before that, and so we were just writing buddies at the time, and he's from back home too.
Okay. And
so he's like, man, just start coming down here and writing, and we'll see what we can do and get plugged in and stuff. And so I think I'd been here about a year, and I met this guy on Uber when I was like, one of the first times I went downtown. I had this guy pick us up
in an Uber.
Okay. And he was just chatting, you know. Super nice
Your Uber
guy.
driver.
Yeah.
Okay.
Imagine that. Yeah. No, he was a super nice guy, like just talking about, you know, music and that. He'd been here for a long time. And he's like, yeah, you know, I've written for so-and-so. I've written for a couple different artists. And we're like, man, that's pretty cool. You know,
but your Uber driver was a country writer?
Yeah.
You guys know this story?
I know. Stay with me. No, it's he was just, you know, talking about how he'd been in town for a minute, and you know, was a writer and all this stuff. So anyway, we parted ways. Literally I was just like, took it with a grain of salt, right? I was like, it's cool, man, like great meeting you, nice guy. End of the story, right? Well, fast forward a year, I'd been in town, I'd been working, had gotten my foot in the door over at River House Publishing with the guy Zeb, and he was basically like, he's like, man, you know, we'd love to talk a deal with you at some point. He's like, for now, like, I was doing tracks, I was doing demos predominantly then, and so I would do demos for free if he would plug me in with some of his writers. And so it was kind of a trade-off handshake thing, and so I was like doing that and trying to get some cuts or get some holds at least. And then I was working part-time over at Lucky Brand at Opry Mills, and I was in there one day.
Lucky the store?
Yeah.
Another retail guy. We have retail background too. His lasted about an hour and a half. Mine was about 3 months before I got arrested.
I was like 18 and working at Abercrombie, and I couldn't fold the shirts right. They kept correcting me. I was like, fuck it, I can't. This isn't for me.
You did?
Just I worked out. Never came back.
That's hilarious. Abercrombie, man. Oh, that takes me back. Oh, man. That's funny. Yeah, that was my first retail gig too, and I was like, I literally just took it because they were hiring. I was just like, dude, I need
some money.
Yeah, well, the hours, they were super flexible, and they needed help, so they were like willing to work with me on like, let me write in the morning and then just piece around that. So it was good. But anyway, I'm working one day, and this dude walks in, and I'm like, dude, this guy looks familiar. So I like went over to him, started chatting. Turns out it was my Uber driver from a year earlier.
Holy shit.
And he just randomly came into my store.
Needed some jeans.
Needed some Lucky Brown, man. And shout out to Lucky Brown. I think I'm still employed there, but I never actually quit. But yeah, he just randomly came in. We started chatting.
Did he recognize you?
I can't remember exactly how. I can't remember if I recognized him or vice versa. Yeah. But yeah, we just started chatting. He was like, man, I'd love to write. I'd love to start writing some stuff. And so, long story short, we did. We wrote a few songs, and then I think we wrote 2, just us. And then on the third one, we started this idea, and he was like, man, do you care if I pull some guys in on it to help us out? I was like, sure. It ended up being Jason Aldean's bandmates, Kurt and Tully. And so that's kind of how I got plugged in with those guys. And we finished, I think we wrote 2 or 3 with them. And apparently a couple of them had got sent to Aldean, and this was probably a week after we'd written our second or third song. And I'm like out I'm out over in East, like cutting my grass one day, you know, I'm just like running a weed eater, and my phone starts ringing, and it's 615. So like, hello? He's like, hey man, this is Jason Aldean. I got your number from my boy Tully, and he's been sending me songs y'all are writing. He's like, I really dig what you're doing, and blah blah blah. He's like, you know, we started a publishing company a couple years ago. We've been looking for somebody to sign, like just going on and on, right? I'm like, there's no way this is real, dude. Like, because again, at the time, I'm literally mixing demos in my bedroom, you know, like it just, yeah, and nothing going on. And but yeah, he turned out, you know, to be super legit, man. I was Tilly still gives me crap about it because he's like, he would call me. Did he call me like every other day? Hey man, you haven't? Yeah. It was basically because they both own the publishing company. Him, Kurt, and Tully do. So, you know, Tully would call me. You haven't signed anything anywhere else yet, have you? You know, and I'm like, nah, dude. But dude, it worked out so well, man. I was so fortunate how everything fell into place, and those guys have been really good to me, man. They've been champions of mine from day one, and I think the coolest thing about Aldean was that, you know, not everybody else had seen me in the writing room at that time, but he was like, bro, you're an artist.
Yeah.
Like, you're going on the road. You know, I want to sign you to a record deal too, and that's always stuck with me, man. Just somebody like him believing in me to do that. I'm like, if he believes it, surely I can, you know, surely I can do it. So
Jason's a good dude.
Yeah, he is, man. He's been like that from day one to me. So yeah, always appreciate that. And you know, there's always guys that are there early that hopefully if they stick it out, that means they're probably worth something, you know.
What I mean, you're cutting your grass. I mean, Jason Aldean calls you like, you know, the week before where you're like, hey, this shit might not work out. Did you have a backup plan where you're like, hey, like, I've been here for a minute, you know, we're grinding, but if it doesn't work out, was there any thought of that where you're like, just fuck it, I'm just going to keep doing this until the wheels fall off?
No, dude. I feel like there actually was, because I had been in that like purgatory phase of like, okay, I'm doing demos for free, and you know, we're doing this handshake deal. It's cool, but like
it's a barter system. You're like,
I would like to get paid. You know, like,
I'm not getting any money. I'm just giving you something in a service. You're giving me something back, but that's not paying my bills.
Right. So yeah, I was definitely like, is there a reason I'm not pulling the trigger? Like, you know, I'm like second guessing.
Yeah, you get some self-doubt.
Yeah. So there's definitely a lot of that. I wouldn't say, I mean, I know it sounds stereotypical, but I really didn't have a backup plan, man. I was just like,
I think that's the best plan. Just you got plan A, and if plan A doesn't work, then it's plan A.
Yeah. Yeah. As
soon as you start planning for plan B, you might as well just go ahead and do plan B.
Yeah.
I agree with that, man. I've never been a big plan B guy.
Yeah.
And Ben. And but the reason being is because when shit starts to suck really bad, right? You're having trouble paying bills, and or, you know, I'm also referring to buds, which is the pipeline you have to go through to become a SEAL. If you have a plan B and those evil thoughts start creeping in, like, hey, plan B starts looking good because what you're doing right now is absolutely horrible and draining everything from you.
Right.
You could just make that mental switch and justify going to plan B.
Yeah.
Without really, you really didn't give plan A everything you had.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Didn't exhaust plan A.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you feel like that was like part of your training, doing all that? You think that was part of their goal, is to like get you to that point?
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
Their goal is just to get everybody quit. Right.
Yeah.
And
if they get everyone to quit, I think they're happy.
There's been one class that had 0 graduates.
Seriously?
Really?
And then a handful of years ago, let's call it 6 years ago or so, there was a span, maybe less than that actually, maybe 5 years ago.
So like out of 30, 40 guys, everyone quit.
Yeah, out of like I don't know what year this was, but I know there was one class without any graduates.
Wild,
damn, that is wild.
And
that's
then
brutal.
a couple years ago, my buddy was running first phase, and that's, you know, the part where most people quit,
right,
in the pipeline. And he had multiple classes. I mean, this went on for I think a year or more, where, you know, you have 8 guys, you have 12 guys, 8 guys, 9 guys, you know, and it's like that's not doing the community anything.
No.
Like, we still are in a deficit body pool wise. And then he got a bunch of shit for that because like, hey, why aren't people making it through? Because it's not my problem. I'm just running through the gauntlet.
Yeah, you can't change your
the standards
of who you're letting in.
And that's what Army did, and a bunch of other folks were doing
standards
that.
Are the standards,
and we never did that. And of course, he caught a lot of hell. A bunch of people caught a lot of hell because it was the same time frame where they was able to bring women into special forces and all of that. So, but none of that came to fruition. And now I would say the average graduating class is around 15, 20 guys.
Wow.
Yeah. I think there's
and that's just for SEAL training. That's just SEAL training.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And that's
wild,
just so that's just
your
to
foot in the
get
door.
to SQT, and then that's SEAL qualification training. So after BUDS, I think BUDS is like 9 months, 10 months, something of that nature. And then after that, you have SQT, and that's when you get all the technical stuff where you start learning the core skill sets to be a SEAL, skydive, small unit tactics, more demo, all the things. Then you show up to a SEAL team, and then you're on a 2-year probation. And if there's 10 guys that show up to a SEAL team, I'd say at least one of them gets shit canned.
Really?
Before their first deployment.
That's wild, man.
But yeah. So if you have a plan B, it's just not. You're going to probably end up going to.
You're gonna take that plan B real fast.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
Yeah.
I just could never make the phone call.
Yeah.
Right. Like, hey, Dad. Hey, Mom. Hey, whoever. I quit.
Yeah.
I just didn't have it in me to make that call. So I would go through anything to not make that call.
I feel the same way, man. I feel like. Just in my instance, it's like you make this big statement, oh, you're selling everything and moving to Nashville. It's like, well, it better freaking work, Like you better have something to show for it. At least that was my mentality. I'm like, I'm not gonna go down here and just, dick around and, waste my time and, burn through all the money I've saved up to last me however many months it's gonna last me with rent being $1,000, It's like, so I don't know, man. I definitely agree. I think, if you got something in the back of your mind that sounds appealing, you're probably going to go there. I was just never felt like I was good at anything else, in the sense of like having a chance at doing anything else. Sports was out of the question for me. I was just like, I loved basketball, but I was just small, just I knew going to the next level was just not an option.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I was gonna ask you, how was that for you? Like, it's got to be the same way. No plan B going into.
No, because I went to Vanderbilt here. I'm from Southern Indiana.
Oh, okay.
Only, my hometown is like 3 hours from here.
Yeah.
And then I went to Vandy, and we were not good by any means. But we won enough games, and then I got drafted. Like there was never an option of like. I went to college, but I just went to college. I didn't put any effort into it by any means. I literally did the bare minimum that you could do at Vandy, which is hard to do. But yeah, there was never a plan. I'm going to go do, X, Y, or Z when I'm done at college. It was like,
right.
I'm either playing the NFL or I guess I'm just going to be homeless or something. I don't know what the hell's going to happen.
Yeah. That's wild. That's a tough slot too, right? It's like, I related to this because you're just like, there's so many people that want that slot.
Well, all three of these seats we're in right now, like there's only so many people. Like there's only so many people that get your slot. There's only so many people that get your slot, and obviously same in my boat. So you're battling against a pool of people that are probably similar talented as you.
Yeah.
Same
if
backgrounds,
not more talented.
if more not talented,
100%.
and you just gotta be like, I'm either gonna outwork you or be better under pressure or figure it out, or sometimes there's some luck involved.
Yeah.
Meeting the right people, being around the right coaches, being around mentors. Like there's a lot of things that are involved, obviously, to get to the places that we've gotten to. And
yeah.
but I think the majority of it is like, all right, you just gotta got to put in the time, got to put in the effort, and you've got to somehow believe and just keep going.
And luck is the byproduct of those three
yeah.
things you
Oh,
just
yeah,
said.
I agree
Shit,
with
I'm
that.
tired. I don't want to go to this, networking thing this evening. I just got home, and boom, you go to it, and then you don't see its benefits, or you don't see anything come of that until a year later when you're working at
So
that
true,
Lucky
man.
brand, and old boy walks in, and that relationship that you maintained changes your life.
Yeah.
Right.
But then you get there, and now you got to stay.
That's tough.
There you go.
And that's
preach now.
And that's a different ball game then too.
Oh, we've never talked about this aspect of performance.
Then you got to stay because there's the next generation coming up behind you.
Yeah.
Like there's new people coming all the time.
Yeah.
Trying to take your job.
Yeah, and they're fresh.
And hungry.
Hungry. Yeah.
They were where you were 4 years ago.
So, but
Yeah.
I feel like that's where your tenure and your wisdom, they can have all the same attributes and be, almost you when you were that age or when you entered, the NFL or the songwriting, world. But you have so much knowledge on them where they couldn't replace you.
No, and I
Right.
think that's what Jason's awesome. I hung out many times. Like that's what Jason's doing. Like he's like, all right, I'm gonna help these young performers out and build this culture and this community with the people that I want to do it with, and just keep going down the line.
And that's the way you build a monster of an organization.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If
I'm
you
sure
have-
that's probably what
if
he's doing.
You have one guy like Jason who's made it, who knows the system, knows all the ins and outs of the organization. Then he starts building his own record label, his own songwriters, and if he keeps that culture, now that's a monster.
Yeah. No, you're exactly right. That's an interesting point too, is like, having the wisdom to like realize that too. Okay, I'm not this anymore.
Yeah.
It's sometimes it's hard because you're like,
Yeah, you want to be the main guy forever, and it's like, all right. You
just
can
don't work
do
that way.
that, but like you
Yeah.
said, it doesn't work like that.
well, and I feel like just like you said, all three of these seats, they're very much so like,
We're coveted.
yeah, and it's gonna happen at some point.
100%.
You know what I mean? Like you got to know that going into. I'm not gonna be at the top forever.
Yeah.
But that's cool to look at it in that light too. Of like having the wisdom. Am I gonna invest in somebody to show them what I learned or what not to do? Hey, maybe don't do that here. Or
Well, that's where like humility comes in. That's where
Yeah.
Jason's awesome because like you have to take a back seat and be like, all right, I'm going to bring these other people in, and they might get bigger than me. Mm-hmm. It's possible,
And that's what you want.
and that's exactly what I want.
yep.
Yeah.
We start building people up, and
It's always interesting. There's a point in that relationship where I'm gonna say you test your boss, your superior, because you think you have it. For example, you're in Jason's relationship, and because that happened to me in the SEAL team all the time. Guys, give them the opportunity to run with it, and they do good. Of course, everyone's mouthy, so people start talking like, "Dude, you see that plan I came up with, executed flawlessly. You could have never done that."
Right.
It's like. And then, it's like, oh, hold on, in the SEAL, you start catching shit because you are older. You're 40, in the SEAL teams, which is, mine's will be 105, and got the young guys are running around.
I don't believe that for a second, dude.
And the young guys are running around, extremely fit, and then and hungry, but then you can humble them. It's like, man, the only thing I need is my 2 radios, and I'll orchestrate this symphony of the chaos, and it's something that you don't have the ability to do yet because you just haven't been in enough unique situations, and you don't have this, like, oh shit, I remember, I got a shooter at the end of the hallway. We have X, Y, and Z. There's these external doors, and you remember something that happened to you in the past, and you can formulate a plan that they haven't, they don't have the ability to think of yet just because of their lack of exposure.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that's very true. I love that. I just need 2 radios, bro.
radios and a gun, we're good to
Yeah,
go.
dude.
Yeah.
And when all else fails, this old dude's gonna be the most aggressive fucking hate train you've ever seen in your life. What's up, guys? Sam Mackey here. I want to tell you about today's sponsor, Spartan Forge. Spartan Forge has no doubt made me a more effective and efficient hunter. Spartan Forge was founded by former U.S. Special Operations Intelligence Officer Bill Thompson, who took his 21 years of military experience fighting the global war on terror and applied his learnings to his true love, whitetail hunting. My favorite feature on the Spartan Forge app is the LiDAR for finding draws and funnels. It also has an AI deer movement prediction tool, so you know when and where to go. It has historical wind plots for selecting stand locations, and Cyber Scout for just about anything else I need to know. Spartan Forge, a veteran-owned and operated American mapping and scouting company. Use promo code OUTSIDER20 to save 20% on a premium membership to Spartan Forge. That's OUTSIDER20, OUTSIDER20.
Did you meet your wife in Nashville?
Yeah, I did. I think we met 2020. We were both very new to town. Yeah, we
and
met.
then you started popping out kids as fast as possible.
Fast as possible,
Shit.
bro. Yeah, I never had sex ed or anything in high school.
No idea what a
Went
condom
to a
was.
Christian school, so yeah, it was. No, I'm just kidding. I don't know, man. I always, definitely. This is not where how I saw my career going, right?
Yeah.
Always the dream was always just to be on the road and have my daughter. Our first major tour was with Aldean.
Okay.
And that was in 21. It was in 21. And at that time I was out 30, 40 dates out of that year, and it was just like knowing that I was gonna, because I think she was due in March, and the tour was like wide open at that point. And so it was crazy, man, because I just never thought I would have to be thinking about getting back to have a kid in the middle of
working.
the start of the dream.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
But I swear, man, I'm so thankful that it happened the way it did, because I needed that, man. I needed that grounding of hey, man, you're not out here to, for yourself.
Sure.
This isn't all about you. It's you got a reason to work. You got a reason to double down on the aggression now. If you're not, but I promise you, dude, the most probably the most achieving year in my life was that year, because I was hustling.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm still feel like I really do hustle a lot, and I'm in the grind phase. But that one was when she arrived, I was like, all right, these diapers are not cheap, bro. We got to get after it, So I love it, man. I love being a dad. It's it gives you a little bit of wholesomeness. We're talking about it with somebody yesterday, and it's just I don't even remember the last time I got home and looked up at the stars at night. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And we got home the other night. My little girl was like, "Dad, it's Twinkle Twinkle," and I'm like, it's just little things like that where I'm like, man, kids are awesome in that way of just reminding you of you need to slow down, bro.
Goes by fast.
There's too much going on up there.
Goes by very fast.
I'm with you, man. My kids are at the age now they don't want me to leave the house. When they're younger, and they're traveling a lot. It's they have their mom, and they don't miss you much. But as they get older, because I'm in the same boat, I'm working. I work as hard as I do for my kids.
Right.
But then there's that line of okay, how much can I be gone? When does working have a negative effect? So much have a negative effect on the family, and finding that balance and really doing everything you can with that home time when you are home.
Yeah.
It's a very very fine line that you got to be cognizant of, because you can justify working your ass into the ground and not seeing them, and going on the next trip, doing that, and trying to get that next deal, go,
Yeah.
and it's all for them. But then all they want is you to be home.
Right.
So it's a dance that I'm
double-edged
dancing right
sword.
now.
Yeah.
What's that?
So it's a double-edged sword.
It is.
Yeah.
Sure.
You
It's tough
gotta
too.
find some balance.
Yeah, it's hard to find, man. I was gonna say, it's tough. Our touring was a little different. Ours, I feel like you probably that. That was one saving grace, with most of the tours that we're on, we're hitting it, but we'll have 1 or 2 days a week home. So you at least get to like touch base, do your chores, and play with them for a little bit, and then you're back at it. But I can't imagine being gone for months and months, and like
it's difficult.
Yeah.
And this sounds real messed up, but the best way to deal with that situation is almost forget about them.
Yeah.
Right. And just try not to think of them that much, but then allow yourself time, of course, when you're FaceTime or what have you. We have all these luxuries now compared to when, the war started. But if you just let it can weigh on you heavy, right? You can get sad. Everybody goes through things. It's 6-month deployment, sometimes shorter, sometimes longer. Yeah. And, but you almost have to forget about them in a way, because if you start thinking about going home, you start thinking about, bad things that happen or that could happen, you're already doing, your team a disservice, and all that, you could probably get someone hurt. So it's time for you to go home if you're hurting that bad, right?
That's true, man.
Send cats home, because your head just has to stay in the game.
Yeah, that's very true. Very true.
But being gone for that long is interesting, right? You deal with a lot of things mentally, about missing your kids, missing your family. Life goes on without you. You come home, there's new songs on the radio. But the thing that I've always missed the most is like the smell of a woman or in the smell of my house.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's when you're living with dudes, especially like in a mud hut for 6 months. I remember we were literally living in this mud hut in Afghanistan. Hadn't seen a female in a couple months, and our helicopter lands back at Kalat, this airfield, and before the wheels touch down, I smelt her. I'm like, there's a chick around here somewhere. And I looked up, and it was like, the smell of herbal essence. This should be a fucking commercial. And this lady on the flight line, like directing the helicopters, and I smelled her. I think it was about 100 yards away.
My man's a bloodhound.
Oh, dude. Like a bird dog.
I don't know how this is going to go over. Katie hears this.
No. Yeah, I can't imagine. Yeah, anything. I would rather smell anything than a bunch of dudes.
Oh yeah,
in a mud hut. Dude. Yeah, that's brutal.
Yeah, it is, man. No, that we had a damn cobra living in that mud hut.
Oh,
a 7-footer. I never saw him, but a bunch of guys did.
Really?
Yeah. And there's
crazy.
thatched roofs. So and I slept on the top bunk, so my face is like this far away from the roof.
And they said a cobra was living in it?
Living up in the thatch.
Burn that bitch down.
Yeah, I'm out.
Where are you going?
I'm sleeping in the mud.
Dug a hole somewhere.
Yeah.
I'm not living with a cobra.
No.
I hate snakes.
I do have a songwriting question. When you write a song, do you know if it's like for you or if it's for somebody else while you're writing it?
Yeah, that's a good question. I've always just approached it with, I just want to write the best idea, because sometimes you get in a room and people, you can already tell they're teeing something up, directing it for you, right?
Sure.
Like they know what you do a little bit, they know what you're going to like, their buzzword, like whatever.
Yeah.
And I just usually start out, I don't go in and throw a bunch of ideas out. I just want to hear what everybody is digging, right? And you just fill the room out, and usually there's one that somebody's been hanging on to, and they're like, I got this idea, and everybody's like, all right, let's get it.
Let's go.
But that being said, sometimes, most of the time, I'm like pitch first mentality. Like, I want to get a cut, right? I'm right. I want to write for whoever. I'm also a signs guy too. So like, for instance, I wrote a song called Country for California, and it'd been, pitched around a handful of times, and I was on a flight back from somewhere and landed in Nashville. This was a year and a half ago, maybe. Actually, it was longer than that, but pointless to the story. I land and I get a phone call from Thomas Rhett, and I didn't know him. I'd never met him. But he was like, man,
phone calls.
I know, man. I don't know. Somebody been giving my phone number, posting on Snapchat or something. I got I was just like, hey man, what's up? And we were chatting, and he's like, man, somebody sent me this song. I I love it. And I just want to see if you were going to cut it. And at the time, I like had it in my pile because it was like, it's a cool song. It felt like a hit. And, but him doing that, going out of his way, like told me that he really dug the song, apparently, you know, so it wasn't meant for me. I try to look at it like that too. And, so yeah, I don't know. Then there's also the flip side of the coin where it's like, sometimes you'll write something and immediately you're like, oh yeah, that's me, you know? Yes. And I think that's too a big part of what I'm learning is like, you gotta be really picky. You just start refining even more. Instead of it being more of an open, you know, gateway, you got to filter stuff, because once you do land on that sound or that brand or that song or whatever, it's like, that's what people want. Yeah. You know? Oh yeah. So I feel like, I don't know. I honestly don't think about it a ton, but I do know that that's just kind of been my approach too, is like, even putting this album together, I was just like, man, I want to put out songs that sound like singles. Yeah. You know?
When you say be picky, do you mean like, for example, you're writing a song and it's your style and it's going well and it's close, and other people, you know, other songwriters might say, hey, we're good here. You're like, no, we're not good.
Yeah.
And then just keep pushing it until you believe in it 100%.
Yeah, man. I mean, I think, and I try to toe that line, right? Because I'm not trying to piss a hit songwriter off. Yeah. Like, I've been in rooms with guys, like I said, who've written multiple hits, and sometimes they've thrown out a line where I'm like, I feel like we could beat that, but the other two people in the room are stoked on it, so I'm gonna let it slide. You know, like, you got to play ball sometimes.
Oh yeah.
I'm not gonna die on that hill for a line and a verse, you know. Yeah. So there's times that I feel like that comes into play, but most of the time, just like, I'm just trying to absorb, man. I like writing with, you know, some of those guys. I like spreading it out. My days have like dwindled, because I was writing like 4 or 5 days a week in town and just grinding it, but now it's turned into like 1 or 2 if I'm lucky. So I had to be more strategic on that end too, of like, I'm not able to do a lot of new
You gotta
writes.
be more meaningful with your time.
Right. Exactly. Yeah, I know I get good songs with these guys. Yeah.
What's important to you?
Yep. Yeah. So I'm figuring it out. Hopefully I'll figure it out by the end of the year.
Sounds like you are figuring it out. Sounds like you've got it figured out.
It's fun, man. I really enjoy that end of it too, and being in the room, because, you know, to me, I think it all starts with the song. If you don't have the song, man, what are you promoting? Yeah. Like, anybody can, you know, make it sound good.
Well, there's been plenty of like huge artists that have shit songs. You're like, all right, well, done here.
Yeah.
Like a good song. I mean, if it's a really good song, I mean, anyone can play it, and you're like, all right, that's a great ass song.
Yeah. Yeah. And it'll last.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Very much so.
That was one of the tests that I was thankful for, not in the moment, but looking back on this project, was that I cut songs on this thing that were 4 or 5 years old.
Oh, really?
Wow.
And, you know, I was like, to me, my thought was like, if I haven't got tired of them, because I'm always digging through my catalog, like listening to songs, because you'll write songs and forget about them.
Sure.
Move on to the next day. You're writing 4 or 5 a week, then you really are. You're binding through it. But I'm always going back through, and it's like, if I haven't got tired of this in 3 or 4 or 5 years, then hopefully it'll have the same effect once it's out. So
that's awesome.
I don't know, man. There's a lot of things, but it all comes back to what we were talking about, like trying to get an edge. How can I get an edge on these cats? You know, it's like there's so many talented guys in town and good young writers who like piss you off because they get it, you know, right away, and they're like, oh, what if you flip it like this? And you're like, damn it, you know, but it's good. Yeah. But, you know, it's all, I feel like a lot of strategy involved, more than you'd probably think. And same with everybody's thing, man. You got to be strategic. And
so are you touring now?
Yeah, we've been out.
Where do people find you?
You can find us about anywhere. we've been all over the place, man. We went from, I might have said this already. We were in Ohio, and then we went Tulsa, and then back to Nashville. Shot a live performance. As soon as we landed, we shot for Kelly Clarkson's show. That's gonna be cool.
Okay.
And then we turned and burned back to the West Coast over in Oregon. So I literally just rolled back yesterday, and it's been good, man. We've just been keeping the roads hot and trying to build our show. I mean, that's something I've learned too, man. I've always, played in bands and gigged and done that forever, right? But when you start like getting a little buzz and you're like, okay, people are expecting this, so we gotta
live up to it.
we gotta tighten up, And me, like my crew, man, we're like, I feel like everybody probably says this, but I feel like we're kind of one of a kind with where we're at, because it's all buddies of mine pretty much that have gradually we've added on, throughout the years. And so that's like when we get to hang out now. Like when I'm home, like I said, I'm in the trenches, so I'm doing that thing. But we get to have fun on the weekends now and go out and play. And it's just a lot of fun. That's also motivating for me too, because I've had guys who've been there from day one that have grinded it out and played for a bunch of empty seats with me. And so it's cool to have it pay off a little bit for them too, and like get the success together.
That's awesome.
Absolutely.
I love that.
But yeah, it's been fun.
Well, good. We're cheering for you.
Yeah.
Thanks
for
man.
coming on, and congratulations again, man. #1 song on country music radio.
That's wild, man. It's crazy. It is wild. Thank you, man. I appreciate that. I look forward to getting to hang with y'all down the road, hopefully soon.
Come back.
Y'all coming to Stagecoach or anything? Y'all coming out?
I don't have any plans. I'm busy working and hunting. We got a bunch of shit in the works with that. And
where y'all going next?
I'm hunting tomorrow here, and then I got a farm in Kentucky. We'll be there 1st of May.
Yeah, I might have to shoot up there. I might shoot up there next week. Try to kill a bird before everybody shows up.
Be smart. And then we got a ranch in Montana. We're gonna go bear hunt there probably into May.
Nice.
And then I'm going to Africa in July.
Dang.
And then back for elk in Montana.
Are you hunting anything specific out in Africa? Or are you
Everything.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah,
That's cool.
The kill list is in the guide. My buddies have went there last year, so they kind of know what's happening.
Yeah.
And the guide about every day sends us videos of something that's being killed there, and it's just kudu, sable. I mean, everything.
That's
zebras,
wild,
giraffes. It's.
You're gonna love it.
I'm afraid of that
I mean,
because it's not cheap.
well, I got you.
I'll tell you what, it's not that bad.
No.
The flight. Well, once you get there, it's not that bad. The flight over sucks. Paying for that. But then my buddy, they probably shot 40 animals between 3 of them, and he shipped back probably 8 to 10, and it's not bad. It was like $12,000 for in a big ass crate in Atlanta when picked it up.
That's
I think you got
wild.
to look at once your flights, then your trophy fees, and then you're averaging $600-800 an animal, if that, somewhere in there for taxidermy
It's
and
not
shipping.
awful.
I mean,
it's just
each individual thing isn't that much,
Yeah.
unless it's the trophy fee, Cape Buffalo, or
I'm
one of the big
not shooting,
5.
I'm not shooting buffalo this year.
I'll do it. Let me go with you. I'll do it with you.
I don't get it. They don't do much for me.
Really?
They don't
They're
do
the most
any-
dangerous animal in the world to hunt.
Really?
Yeah. They
Cape
kill.
buffalo?
They kill a lot. But I mean,
crazy.
it's just a big ass cow.
Dude. So Riley and I were over there, and my cousin, he was a football player also, and I shoot my Cape buffalo. Then we go find another group, and he sees this big bull, right? And it's walking, boom, he shoots it, and he shoots a little far back. And it hauls ass into this big saw grass, and there's these little trees. They're almost like mesquite trees, right? And we're walking into the tall grass and chasing this wounded Cape buffalo, and our PH looks back at us. And mind you, my cousin's like 6'6", 330, right?
Yeah.
It's a monster.
Yeah.
He looks back, he goes, "Gents, this is how people die hunting Cape buffalo." He's like, "We got to move tree to tree, and if you hear something, you climb this tree." Riley looks at this tree. It's about the size of a handle of a Louisville Slugger. He's like, I'm going to grab this thing. It's going to fall over on me.
Swing it back and forth.
Yeah. I'm like, I'll stand here with you. But
That's fun.
ended up getting it done and no one got hurt. But
That's cool, man.
It's a fun hunt.
Yeah.
Where'd you say that was again?
That was in Africa. South Africa, yeah. We went up to the Limpopo district. So I think that's on the northeastern side of South Africa.
Huh. That's awesome, man.
Yeah. It was a hell of a time. But
Yeah.
When you back on the road?
Tomorrow.
Oh.
Yeah.
You going home after this?
Yeah, we got rehearsal tonight, and then we're actually flying out to Stagecoach this weekend.
Nice.
Okay.
That'll be fun.
Nice.
Get to chill while we're out there, at least for a day or two, and yeah, it'll be fun. It'll be fun.
Well, good, bud. We won't keep you up anymore.
Yeah. And enjoy the success, my man.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you, man.
That's huge.
I appreciate that.
Yes,
for
sir.
real. Yeah,
Yes,
thank
sir.
y'all for having me.
All right, everyone, check him out. Ben, make sure you throw up all his stuff on the podcast for us.
Instagram, all
All
the
right.
tour, everything.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll get your tour dates and all that shit too.
That'd be great, man.
All right.
Yeah.
Throw blast it all up there.
Appreciate
Cool.
it.
Right on, brother.
Yeah.
Cool.